Alex wasn't looking for forever, just someone who meant it. Someone who didn't just reply, but responded. He'd been talking to someone for a few weeks. You know how it goes. The messages got longer. The good mornings turned into late-night confessions, inside jokes, shared playlists, that fragile sense of possibility. They hadn't met in person yet, but the energy felt real, or at least it felt like something. And then, just like that, it didn't. One day he sent a message, "You free to talk tonight?" Delivered, read, and then nothing. At first, he brushed it off. People get busy, life happens. But then it was a day, then 3, then a week. No reply, no explanation, just vanished. And the silence started speaking louder than any reply ever could. Alex didn't just feel abandoned, he felt defective. He started reading the conversation back, over and over. Was he too eager? Did he say something wrong? Was he not interesting enough? Too available? He started shrinking in his own mind, editing himself retroactively. Like somehow, he could rewrite history by finding the exact moment where it all went wrong. You see, ghosting doesn't just hurt because someone disappears. It hurts because they leave you with unfinished stories in your head. Alex wasn't mourning a breakup. He was mourning potential, what it could have been. And the worst part? He couldn't even be mad. How do you get closure from someone who chose not to give you one word? But something deeper was happening beneath Alex's pain. A quiet shift. A question he hadn't asked himself before. Why do I feel the need to chase someone who chose not to stay? This was the beginning of the unraveling, not of his heart, but of an illusion. The illusion that he needed to win people over to be worthy. We'll come back to Alex's story shortly, whether he recovered from all this, and whether you can too if you find yourself in his shoes. But first, let me share the stories of Mia and then Daniel, so you can experience the full arc of a powerful theory I'm going to share with you. If you stick with this video until the end, Mia wasn't the loudest one in the group, but she was the one who remembered birthdays, who took the photos, who stayed late to help clean up after parties. She'd known these girls for years, some since high school, some through work. They weren't perfect, but they were her people. So when Friday rolled around and the group chat went quiet, she didn't think much of it. Until later that night, lying in bed, she opened Instagram. Same city, same circle, everyone was there, except her. At first, she thought maybe it wasn't planned. Maybe they forgot. Maybe someone thought someone else had invited her. But then she noticed it. The way they captioned the stories, the real ones only. No dead weight this year. She stared at the screen, frozen between heartbreak and humiliation. She wasn't just left out. She was intentionally uninvited. The questions came fast. Did I do something wrong? Was I too much? Too quiet? Too boring? Was it something I said? She started editing her memories, searching for the moment she became disposable. She remembered the birthday she helped plan, the night she drove one of them home, the time she held someone's hand in a breakup. And now, no invite, no message, just digital proof that she didn't belong. There's a special kind of pain in being almost included, not hated, not rejected, just erased. Mia didn't want drama. She didn't want revenge. She just wanted to understand. Why didn't they want her there? But deep down, she already knew. Some people only keep you around as long as you play your role. Quiet, helpful, convenient. That night, Mia cried quietly, not just for the party, but for all the times she'd put herself last, just to be allowed in the room. And for the first time, she asked herself something different. Why do I keep knocking on doors that close themselves on me? This wasn't just about friends. It was about self-respect and the beginning of her most powerful transformation. To truly grasp Mia and Alex's transformation, and how it can guide your own, we need to explore one final character, Daniel, the man no one ever heard. Daniel wasn't the kind of person you'd immediately notice in a room. He didn't speak just to speak, but when he did, it meant something. At work, he showed up early, stayed late, gave everything. But in meetings, his ideas were either ignored or repeated by someone louder and applauded like brand new. He wasn't invisible, he was unseen. And there's a difference. It wasn't just work. Friends made plans without him. Group chats lit up, but his messages went unanswered. It's the kind of loneliness that creeps in slowly, not the dramatic, cinematic kind, but the quiet erosion of mastery. He stopped sharing ideas, stopped initiating, stopped showing up, not because he didn't care, but because no one seemed to notice when he did. Daniel began shrinking in the background of his own life. He started wondering, what's the point of showing up if no one sees me? Is something wrong with me? Am I just forgettable? He wasn't angry. He was tired of trying to prove his worth to people who couldn't hear his voice. One day, in a meeting, Daniel finally spoke up. A big idea. Smart, clear, valuable. The room went quiet, then moved on. That was it. Not the moment he broke, but the moment he realized he was done performing for attention. Later that night, Daniel sat with his thoughts. No distractions, no noise. And for the first time, he asked something he'd never dared ask. Why do I keep trying to be heard by people who choose not to listen? Why was his self-worth tied to their approval? That question didn't lead to rage. It led to release. This was the moment before everything changed, before the theory, before the shift, the moment he began turning down the volume of the world and listening to himself again. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The recovery arc of our three characters. Alex, the guy who got ghosted. Mia, the girl who was excluded. And Daniel, the man who was ignored. Alex didn't get closure. He didn't get a final text or an explanation, but he got something better. He discovered a question, simple but radical. What if I just let them ghost me, let them disappear, let them show me what they're made of, so I can stop imagining something better. And in that letting go, the pain didn't vanish, but the grip of it did. He realized, the person who stays, who shows up, who chooses you, you don't have to chase that. Let them leave, so you can finally stay with yourself. Mia never asked for much, just to be seen, to be wanted, to be considered. But when they left her out, she learned the most important truth. Belonging doesn't require begging. So she stopped wondering why, and instead said, let them hang out without me. Let them bond in my absence. Let them reveal the limits of their love. Because when you stop forcing yourself into rooms where the vibe rejects you, you make space for the ones who celebrate your presence. Let them forget you, so you can remember who you are. Daniel stopped speaking just to be heard, and started listening to his own voice. He realized, let them ignore me. Let them underestimate me. Let them think I'm quiet, while I build something they can't ignore. Being overlooked became fuel. The silence became space. The rejection? Redirection. He no longer chased validation. He followed his own vision. Let them sleep on you, so you can wake up to your potential. Maybe you're like Alex, left on read, ghosted, wondering what you did wrong. But instead of chasing closure, he chose peace. He chose to let them. Or maybe you're like Mia, the one they forgot to invite. She could have spiraled into self-doubt, but instead, she smiled anyway. She chose to let them. Or you're like Daniel, surrounded by people, yet invisible, ignored, overlooked, until he realized their silence says more about them than it ever did about him. And so he let them. You don't have to fight for someone to respect you. You don't have to beg to be included. You don't need to prove your worth to people who've already decided not to see it. Let them underestimate you. Let them exclude you. Let them talk, judge, ignore, walk away. Because when you stop giving your energy to those who take you for granted, you make space for those who see you clearly. It's not weakness, it's power. It's not detachment, it's direction. Whether you're like Alex, Mia, Daniel, or your own version of quiet heartbreak, you have the right to walk away from what no longer feeds your soul. Let them go, so you can finally come back home to yourself. Not everyone belongs in your story forever, but your peace? It always does. If you've ever felt unseen, forgotten, or left behind, and you're ready to stop chasing, stop pleasing, and start choosing yourself, comment below, I choose peace. Let the world know you're done giving your energy to the wrong places. And if you want to keep learning how to stop giving a damn, check out my next video on the subtle art of not giving AF by Mark Manson.